Hello, everyone. Happy to be back with another Young Indian, part of the Voice of the Young series. Right now, we have with us Bhavya Rana. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Bhavya.
Hi, everyone. To anyone who's watching, a little bit about myself. I am a third-year student at Lady Shri Ram College for Women at Delhi University, and I study a dual degree in economics and computers. That is more so my academic representation. I have been raised in Delhi throughout my life, educated in Delhi throughout my life, and currently I'm in a different city. As a part of my summer internship, I am in Kolkata. So I'm looking forward to discussing what my journey has been up till here. And I'm also interested in talking about how my love for arts combines with my love for everything academic and corporate that has happened in my very short career so far.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I think I'll just start from the top. So in school, I was very interested in academics, had been trained by my parents, by my mother, who's a teacher, to be really good at academics, to divert all my attention. But growing up, both my parents also understood that it was very important to have a very holistic education. So throughout my life, from the ages of maybe 6 to 14 to 15 years of age, I was always training in an art form. I have been trained in, something as simple as normal drawing classes for children to learning Kathak for the first, 4 or 5 years of my life as a teenager. And now I also, till very recently, used to learn, the electronic guitar. So all of these hobbies, when I put them on paper, they seem like an attempt to, develop my profile, as we would say in very CV terms. But I think right from the beginning, even before I understood the importance, my parents were very strong on art, something that they had not been exposed to or didn't have the privilege to experience. They tried to inculcate it into me. And what that has given me is a very sound understanding of how the world works. So initially, when I entered college, I was very interested in pursuing an academic career in economics, because this is a short like anecdote, but basically Geeta Gopinath, the chief economist at the IMF, now the managing director, she was from my college, and that was a huge source of inspiration back in 2019, in 10th grade, when I was supposed to make a choice about studying what I wanted to do. And economics seemed incredibly interesting, incredibly dynamic in how it could explain the most simple phenomena through its concepts. So that was my thing. I wanted to be an academician. I wanted to do a PhD, all of that. And I entered college and I started taking heed of the academic world, both through my professors and through other students who had shared dreams like me. And I understood that academia, as fulfilling as it can be, was not something that I could look at from an economic prospect. I was very interested in contributing to my family, to making an income fast or like earlier. And I think academia as a field, I mean, we can discuss academia as how it can become a little bit of a privileged bubble, especially when you study in elite colleges like mine. So I became disillusioned with that, and I decided to pivot. And pivoting into things that into unknown territory has been a very focal point of my life. So I remember deciding that I'll always love economics. I'll always have an interest and heart for it, and it'll always be the principle that guides my decisions. But I would like to also, dip my feet and get a hand at business. And as a humanities student from the 11th and 12th grade, I had no foundation of basic business terms, basic commerce, basic economics. All of that was super, super new. And so it took a lot of self-learning because, again, I was enrolled in an economics course. We were more interested in the science of economics rather than how that could be used to explain any kind of complex business concepts. So a lot of the self-learning came from competing in these competitions that happen at the college circuit. They're called business case competitions or case study competitions. And they happen at different levels. They happen at the collegiate levels, they happen at national rounds, interregional. Sometimes they're hosted by colleges itself. Sometimes they're hosted by big corporate companies like HSBC, like the big three consulting firms. So that became a learning curve for me. It was a very steep learning curve. And after competing in, I think, somewhat 20 to 30 competitions, I think I had a good sense of uh, how to use basic frameworks to explain and arrive at solutions for very complex business problems. So I think college taught me resilience in the sense that I had very limited resources in terms of what I wanted to do with my personal time, with my personal career. And I had a supportive environment because of the college I attended, but I was on my own devices for the first time. So that has been my learning. And because of these experiences, and because of this wanting to self-start attitude, I've had a good experience, a good corporate experience, so to say, so far. In terms of internships, I've had the chance to work in very diverse and dynamic fields, from something as far removed from business as social impact, to working in a venture capital, which is very finance heavy, but also having the chance to now, currently, I'm in Kolkata because I'm working with the parent company of a beer brand called Budweiser. It's called AB InBev. And I'm here as part of my summer internship. So these three very dynamic fields, right from entrepreneurship and social impact to venture capital to finally something that's FMCG related or something that's aligned with a big company name. I think what has helped is been my sincerity when it comes to learning, and my motivation of just not, like, giving up and trying to attain like different kinds of knowledge and excellence and uh, uh, exclusiveness in different kinds of fields. So that has been my thing. And yeah, I'd love to discuss like how we move forward with that and what I apply from my learnings in arts to complex fields like these.
Okay, this is not my place to talk. I try to not, I mean, the whole point of this series is to let the young people talk and for seniors like me to listen. So it's not really a place for a good discussion about it. I just want to hear from you, what has struck been your key things in LSR, what tips you have for other young people, things like that.
Okay, sure. I'll talk a little bit about my experience in LSR. Personally, for me, this college has been a great enabler in terms of just the opportunities I've had. I think a lot of the opportunities, even the fact and the privilege of being able to intern at a company that I'm interning at right now, just the sheer scale, I think a lot of this enablement has happened because of colleges like LSR. And I do have my bone to pick with, and this is another discussion, but I do have my bone to pick with how people get selected to enter these universities, in particular, how the process works, how inclusive/exclusive the process is, especially considering the fact that this is public education, so it comes extremely cheap in comparison to the other options we have. And I have a lot of problems with that as well, how the idea of a merit or a meritocracy is not really real, considering how these examination processes have become so complicated and so focused on money and coaching and institutions. But entering this college has been an enabler, not just in terms of the economic opportunities I've gotten, but also just when you have a cohort of young free-spirited community-led women who really focus on that. And in our college, it's very, the difference is very obvious, because we're a women's college. And I think just the sense of community within the campus, and in comparison to the world outside. Sometimes I argue that it can be a little bit of a bubble and not a real exposure to what the world is like outside. But in most times, it's a safe space to escape, to feel seen, to feel acknowledged, and to feel celebrated for who you are and what you bring to the table. So in that sense, LSR has been a great enabler, a huge difference from maybe school education. So that has been a good thing. I think again, but at the end, like, it is an elite university. There's extreme selectivism. Even when you enter the college campus, you are not just competing with this, maybe the smartest people you'll ever run into in your life, but also people who will be competing against you and who you will be constantly evaluated against. So it's not just a measure of, as much as you want to be away from the competition and away from petty discussions about who gets what, it's hard not to run into those circles and those discussions again and again, because so much of that uh, is what you are valued as in college. So placements, when it comes to placements, admissions to foreign universities outside, scholarships, positions of responsibility in very top societies of the college. So competition is inevitable. And if you are somebody who is not exposed to that kind of competition, especially in school, like most of us aren't actually, it can be a little daunting, especially if you don't come from extremely privileged schools in and around the city. If you don't have that privilege as well, it can be quite confusing and dumbfounding. But I think you get used to it, and ultimately, I think you find your niche. And what has been, I think, a success factor for my friends who are doing very well, and just people in general, what I've noticed is that they all develop niches in college that they're good at. They excel, they try to excel there, they try to show their expertise. Because I think the era of a generalist attitude doesn't really fly anymore. A generalist attitude, both in terms of academic or corporate environments, is now expected of you. What you need to bring additionally to the table is a layer of expertise. And I think that in particular can really, really help. So anyone who's trying to break into these circles and break into these communities, I think really fostering a love for what you want to do and having the mindset and framework to display it in different formats, I think that works very well. So, for example, I personally am super interested in marketing. That was something that I came around very late realization. But what has been a thematic investment from my side in terms of my college experience, a lot of it has been creative. So marketing as a field has been naturally very intriguing, and I think I uh, could get a result of building that expertise. I now work in a marketing and sales role currently. So it's interesting how we all come with a very one-dimensional notion of what a career can look like, and it's only when you come to college is when you realize how diverse and how diverse yet unified the experience can be. You can relate to your mates in a lot of ways, but your experience is yours alone. And yeah, that's something I've really enjoyed about being in an environment like this.
Okay.
And it's something that I've come to believe as the years go by. I've realized that this is not something that's very specific to colleges like LSR. I think with the way the world has become and the interconnectedness of the internet, it's becoming increasingly easy to talk to people and find communities that previously were restricted to these elite circles. So that has been an interesting discovery.
Wonderful. Okay, now, did you, I mean, did you choose LSR, or was it that there are other top colleges? Could you have gone to any of those? Did you choose LSR out of them, or how did it happen?
Yeah, so I am a Delhi kid. I've been brought up here throughout. So I was, even before entering college, from maybe sixth grade itself, I remember large newspaper coverage of the cutoffs that these universities would have. And I would read them up. And though I had no specific preference or an understanding of what a college or a course is, I understood that there was definitely an air and a ring to attending something like Delhi University. So it was not a choice I made organically. The choice was first to, obviously pick a course that I was interested in. And then through, getting acquainted with the course structure and all of that, I came to understand maybe in the 11th or 12th grade that there are some colleges that have amazing economics departments. Some of them include LSR, my college, but also St. Stephen's, SRCC, Hindu college. So I was well aware that attending a good college that had quote unquote a higher cutoff or a higher threshold not only meant like a testimony to my skills or whatever merit I was bringing, but also just the professors, the course structure, all of that would be much more much more personalized, much more better. So I understood that. But the choice to come to LSR was extremely personal because when I was making the choices, I think I also had the choice to attend North Campus, and I think North Campus really is considered the hotspot for the Delhi University, the universal experience that all alums speak about. So I had that choice, but I think I consciously made the choice to be in LSR because I was one fascinated by the fact that it was a liberal arts college first and a commerce and economics college second. And I think that forwardness, despite what career path I took later, that was extremely intriguing to me and interesting to me as a student. I was very impressed by the fact, in comparison to maybe other colleges such as SRCC, which only offers 2 courses. I was very much impressed by the diversity that LSR offers. LSR offers maybe a total of 14 courses, ranging from courses such as the bachelor's in elementary education or a bachelor's in sociology or Sanskrit or Hindi. So I think I understood that ultimately, even if I ended up studying economics, which is, I think, in my opinion, one of the more popular courses of the entire university at large, I understood that diversity would have a spillover effect on my experience. So I think that was one choice I made. So LSR was an organic choice.
All right, good. And what about this computer science? What's going on there?
Right. So, sorry, computer science, come again?
What's going on? Economics usually didn't have computer science and people didn't take it. Is this some
Yeah.
trend or is it your choice?
Oh, okay. I'll just clarify. I'm studying a dual degree in economics and maths. So this is the BA program. But yes, in my college, they do offer a combination of economics and computer science. And I think the BA program course structure at large, it's not a very common course in the entire university circuit. I think only a few colleges offer it. St. Stephen's, LSR being two that I can think of. And so I think I have a few batchmates who have this course. And I think what I understand is ultimately these days, if you want to specialize in economics further, our professors really impress on the fact that you should be acclimated and adjusted to working with very basic programming software like R, Stata, all those Python, all those come in really handy.
Yeah.
So there are courses such as econometrics, a lot of these like advanced versions of the most simple of courses that you study maybe in first year. The more specialized you get, you ultimately do need some database management and data processing proficiency. So I think this course becomes increasingly relevant there, especially when you want to work in statistics or data science. And I think what better a combination than computer science to go with something as dynamic as economics. So I think a very interesting course choice.
Okay, so you're likely to take a job after you finish your BA. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the direction.
All right, fine. What tips do you have for younger people? I mean, you've said so many things which are all thoughtful and reflect your personal experience. But from it, do you have any tips for young people? Those who might be in 11th or 12th, first year of BA.
Yes. I think one thing is to not have a plan in mind, because I've seen how that has gone. Any plan I made in the 11th grade went out of the window when I entered college. So I think keeping multiple options open is important. You might have a love for a subject and an interest in a subject, and that will become increasingly clear to you as you finish school. But keep that close to you, but don't be upset if that's not the choice you are provided with later. Because I think we tend to think of college as the central point to a budding career, to a budding profession. But I think college is not surprisingly the center of everything. There's many options you can explore even after, even outside your college campuses. And it's important to be cognizant of that, especially because the kind of opportunities that are offered at some colleges are very concentrated in universities like Delhi University. So it's important that if you don't have the chance to attend those universities, it's not a reflection on your intelligence or your merit or your hard work. It has nothing to do with that. It's extremely dependent on luck, privilege, several other factors. So networking with the right people outside your college circuit, connecting and talking to people who share the same interests as you, could be in terms of career or research interests. Finding those circles outside is extremely important. Despite how much I love the community-led culture of my college, I also understand that a lot of meaningful connections have arisen from work, have arisen from the internet. So it's important. I think the only tip I have in those terms is to, one, not be very fixated on a particular career goal or a profession. Keep diversifying, keep trying different things out, and you'll ultimately find something that fits for you. It's not something that will automatically come to you. You'll definitely have a few trials and errors, and all of those make part of your college journey. None of it is waste or none of it is bad. And just like keep finding, if you find that there's a lacuna or there's a gap in something that your college can't provide you in particular, look for it outside. There's always help. People are always willing to help. That would be my takeaway.
One last question. Are you optimistic or worried about your future? Or characterize it in any way that you want to.
I think this is something I've been personally also going through right now, because as we approach the end of my summer internship, I will be joining campus, and very soon we'll begin with the placement process, which is the mecca for every third-year student in college. And I think I'm optimistic about my future in the sense that I have faith in myself that I will ultimately find something I like, even if it's not the most traditional or the most preferred route. I know that. I'm optimistic about my future in India, in the global context. I'm also optimistic just about the fact that I'm going to find a good community to work with wherever I want, and that is going to be the prime point. Yeah, I think in general, I like to keep myself very optimistic. I'm very realistic about my goals, but I like to be very bright-eyed and rose-colored about my perspective of the world. I think that keeps me going. So yeah, that's my outlook for now. It might change in the next few days. I'm not so sure, but this is the mindset for now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it has been very informative, and to listen to you to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the college and your own experiences, so on. So thank you very much for that. Anything else you want to add here?
I just wanted to appreciate what you're doing. I've been following your videos for a while, and I often come across your posts on LinkedIn. I just think it's super important to have communities, like I mentioned again and again, but it's super important to listen to young people. I think we are at a very, the general outlook of the world is very weird and confusing right now. So it's nice to have little corners of warmth. So I'm very grateful to you for, creating this platform and inviting people on the regular to talk about their experiences. And I hope this helps someone, whoever is interested, whoever needs it the most. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for doing this.
All right, so let's end it here. I'll be back with another young person and expert soon. Bye till then. Bye, everybody.